What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the workshop. Now, it's been quite some time, about 6 months I think, since my last video, so I've been very busy. I've had no time in the workshop at all. I haven't used any of my tools, but I'm back in the workshop now and I'm doing a bit of cleaning up, a bit of tidying up, dusting off the cobwebs, because like I said, I have done absolutely nothing in here in the last 6 months. I've barely touched a tool in here. I just hadn't had the time. So I'm doing a few jobs around the workshop. I said I'd turn on the camera. I've already made a start. I'll make a video, touch base with you guys, and yeah, I'm going to try and get back into my workshop now. I have a bit more time, so some more videos coming up. So let's just jump in. I have a few jobs I need to do, so you guys might as well stick around and join me for that. Okay, first thing I'm doing is doing a little bit of sorting out with my hand tool cabinet. I've already made a start, so I've added some dowels. So I've hung my axe that I made up here. That's the one with the maple handle. That's one of my older videos. So 2 1-inch dowels I've just put in here, to oak dowels, hung that up there. And I've added a couple of dowels here too for the spoke shape. So I'm going to continue adding some dowels, 2 more to get up there for my plane brush. Where is it there? It's there. That fella is going to go somewhere about there. So that's the first thing. Let's do that. And then we're going to get on and do something with the workbench. Okay, nice and simple. I have some 12mm sapele dowel I'm going to use for this. So 12mm bit, drill 2 holes. I'm just marking where I want this to go. It looks quite good there. Everything fits together, so you don't have to be too accurate with this. Couple of holes here. Now, as soon as I turned my camera on, my neighbour started his trimmer. The exact moment I hit record. So it always seems to be the way. But we would soldier on. It's the joy of making videos. Should be good. Let's cut the dowel. Just cut a bit of the sapele dowel. We don't need that much. Enough to go into the plywood and enough to hold the brush. That should be good. Happy days. They are a little bit tight, so stick the dowels in the drill. Give them a quick sand. And we'll check. Perfecto. Should be good. Okay, just a little dash of glue, although it's not really required. Friction fit is going to be good enough. They're not going anywhere. That'll do the finest. Okay, that's one little job out of the way, something I've been meaning to do for a long time. Just a little space for my axe, my spoke shapes and the brush, and it kind of adds to the hand tool cabinet, so happy days. Now, here's something I wanted to show you guys. One of these UJK squares. I'll give you a quick look at this. I could do a separate video on this, but I'll give you a quick look at it. They're pretty impressive. Right, just a quick look at this then. I'm not going to go through all the things you can do with this particular square. Like I said, you could do a separate video on this on its own. Now, this one was sent to me by the carpentry store here in Ireland. They stock all the UJK stuff, but they're not paying me, and it's not a sponsored video. They just sent me this one to check out, and I'm really impressed with it. I actually like it so much, I'm actually going to buy the 150mm version. This is the 250mm version. So there's so much you can do with this square, but the actual beauty of these squares themselves is that they come with a certificate of calibration, if the camera will focus on that. So you can see they come in a 150, a 250 and a 350, and the one I have is a 250, and that is good, if the camera will stay focused, to 0.005 of a millimeter within square. Now, that specification there is as good as the calibration lab square, so that's pretty impressive. So they're not cheap, but you're paying for this level of accuracy, and the beauty of having a square like this in your shop is that it becomes a reference square for all your other squares, so you can check how good all your other squares are, how off square they are, and I can see there's a little bit of daylight in the corner of this one, even though it is an engineering square. So you can see that's not perfectly square, even though, like I said, it is an engineering square. This one is certified square. So it means you can set up all your machines, all your fences and all your tools with it. They are hefty squares, really, really solid. There's lots you can do with them. Like I said, I'll do a separate video on this. I'm going to order the 151 myself, pay for it myself, and then I will do a video on the two squares in a later date. But I just want to show you these guys. They are pretty impressive indeed. Now, we have a job to do on the workbench. Let's get on and do that. Okay, followers of my channel will know this is my workbench, and it was originally two workbenches, an MFT bench with a router table in it and my hand tool workbench, which I have cobbled together now to make a kind of a Frankenstein hybrid workbench. That's more or less a prototype for a bench that I do intend building sometime in the future. When that will happen, I'm not quite sure, but for now I want to use this. Now, one of the things I need to be able to do is clamp stuff to the front of this bench. I don't have any voices in this, so all my voices are removed from the hand tool section, but what I do have is some T-track left over. So what I'm going to do is route in a section of T-track into the front of this, and then I'll be able to use these UJK clamps, these little hold down clamps. I have two of these, slide them into the T-track, they can just hang right there, and I'll be able to clamp anything I want to the front of the bench when I'm working on it. So let's get the router out, let's get routing this in, and we'll try it out. You know, it's so long since I've been in my workshop, I can't remember where I put stuff. My router, here we go. I believe my fence is in here. Yes, it is. Okay, we're all set up. I have the depth stop set, I have the fence on, so it's just a case of route this in, nothing fancy. Hopefully my top is nice and flat so that this will give me a nice parallel edge. Should be good to go. So let's do it. Okay, this is definitely a dust mask situation. Okay, there we go. Hit a few knots along the way, but what can you do? It's 2x4s or 4x2 construction lumber. So I just want to center this up. It's a nice and tight fit. There we go. So we got a couple of countersunk screws in that now. That'll hold it in place. And we can use this for clamping stuff, jigs, things we're working on, end boards, that kind of thing, to our bench. It's a nice, quick, cost-effective solution if you don't want to spend too much money on clamps. Okay, let's drill a few holes and screw this in place. We have to countersink these. Now I have a countersinking bit for metal, but I can't find it. I'm not sure where anything is in my workshop at the minute is. Okay, there we are, all in place. Just slide in our clamps and they can remain there. Quite handy. Let's see how well they hold the board. So if I wanted to clamp either one of my jigs or a board to the bench, we can do that. And they get a serious grip, these things. And like I said, this is a great option if you're building yourself a hybrid kind of bench and you don't have much money to spend on expensive vices. Then they get an absolute serious grip. You can tighten them down, and that's good enough to work with if you're cutting dovetails into end boards or anything like that, or if you want to clamp a jig to your bench as well. Say if you're doing something like a shooting board or any kind of jig, you can clamp it to the bench. It's a nice, quick and simple option, and very, very cost effective as well. Okay, another one of these little odd jobs done. That's going to make the bench a lot more useful, so I can start using my jigs again. There's just one of the jigs I made. This was completely made with hand tools. So that was a donkey-eared miter shooting board. I have a full video on that. Great little hand tool jig, but it's designed to sit into a bench vise, which, like I said, I have no longer. So that can now go there, and I can clamp it in place with these hold-downs clamps, and I can use all my different jigs. Essentially, it just works as having a face vise on your bench. And it also replaces a need for a leg vise too. Because like I said, there's plenty of clamping pressure in those clamps. Now, I like it so much that I might put a rail in the top of the bench as well. I don't know why you wouldn't put a T-track up here. And I can use these hold downs for holding different boards to the top of my bench as well. Again, another option, rather than using holdfasts, if you haven't got the depth, holdfasts are quite handy tools. They're great, nice, simple design. Just work with friction, hammer them down, and they get a serious clamping pressure. As you can see, I no longer have the depth to use my holdfasts, but I could absolutely use a T-track. So yeah, there we go. Now, another job to do. Let's get it done. Okay, another job that needs doing is sorting this drawer out. So all my MFT stuff is in here. All my bench dogs are just rolling around in this drawer. Something I wanted to put right with a long time, so we're going to do that now. So I'm going to make a little tray that's going to hold all my bench dogs that sits in here that I can lift out, put up onto the bench, but I can also slide forwards and backwards for accessing stuff because it's a nice deep drawer, but it's not getting its full use. Everything is just thrown in the bottom of it here. So let's do that. Okay, we have all our components done. Now this couldn't be simpler, so I just have two rails. They will sit either side like that. A little bit of glue and a few screws will hold them in place. Here's my top piece. That will sit in there like that. This will get all my dog holes. They will sit in there. And I can slide this back and forward in the drawer to access what's underneath. These are going to be the 2 feet for this. This is going to act like a little table when I lift it out. So they will also sit just inside the rails. We'll route them in place and screw them in. And they will attach to the table. All very, very simple. I can lift that out with the legs attached in, stand it up on my bench and take my dogs as I need them, which still gives me access to underneath here. So let's route these 2 edges in, then we can mark this out, drill out all our holes and get our dogs in place. And it's another little solution, another little problem in the workshop sorted. Okay, router is set up, got my 2 channels marked, so we'll just route them out and stick in our 2 legs. Okay, we just square our lines up for our screw holes. Okay guys, there we are, fully assembled, working nicely, but I've made a mistake. Now, if you've never made a mistake, you've never made anything, as the saying goes. So you can see the width I have here and here, they're supposed to be tight to this. So in my blunder, I marked this line. The leg should have been, or I should have routed to this side, not to this side of the line. Again, little lapse in concentration. If it turns out to be a problem, I'll remake it. It's nice and simple. It only takes 10 minutes to put this together. But you can see now, these legs should be tight to the rail, so that gap shouldn't be there. That's exactly the width of one board. I could always screw another piece of plywood in there if I wanted, if I feel like stuff is going to get stuck down there when I'm sliding it back and forward. But yeah, slight boo-boo. Anyway, let's crack on. Let's drill the top, get all our dog holes in. Okay, I'm just laying out my dog, so I'm going to come in 20 mil from my leg and then every 30 mil across. It should give me roughly even. I didn't measure this so that I get an exact even square with the legs and stuff. So how many dogs I fit in is how many dogs I fit in. If it's slightly to one side or the other side, it doesn't matter. So we'll have every 30 mil this way, as many as we can go, and every 30 mil this way, as many as we can go. Turn this board into Swiss cheese now. So I'll get this marked out and we'll get drilling. Okay, just drill the test hole there, everything worked out perfect, so I'm going to be using the bit that comes with the Parf guide system, which is the exact size of all the dog holes. So I'll get on and start drilling all this out. I won't bore you guys to tears with me drilling this. And this bit cuts pretty sharply, so there's not too much breakout on the far side. It won't be seen, so I'm not overly concerned with it. So it does cut a nice clean hole, small bit of breakout, but not to worry about. So I get on and drill all this out, and when we're finished, we'll jump back in. Okay guys, there we go. That's as far as I'm going to go with that. So it's actually quite heavy now. All them dogs, there's quite a bit of weight in them. They're solid steel, all of them. So I kept all the UJK dogs to this side and all the Souter Shop stuff on this side just to balance it out, because it was actually starting to tip a bit with just dogs on this side. The clamp is there, that's for the MFT table, and then we have the screw caps for screwing down the dogs. They're just set into the table there as well, so everything is nicely to hand. That's going to organise the drawer, stop everything rolling around, and I've more than enough dogs there, I think. Well, we'll see. Okay, drop it in place. Happy days, and that's really after freeing up a lot of space in that drawer. And like I said, I can access everything underneath it. So I get everything else back in that drawer now. And another little job that I've been meaning to do for a long, long time, now done. Okay, here we go. Everything MFT top related, now in one drawer, nicely organised. Okay guys, there we go. Just a few odd jobs in the workshop, a few quality of life things, clamping stuff to the bench, hand tools sorted, and that drawer that's been bothering me for about 2 years finally got my finger out and sorted that out as well. So I have a bit more time now, guys, to get back in the workshop. So I said I'd just make a quick video, let you know what I'm doing here. I'm gonna have more content coming up, more regular content coming up. I apologize to everybody. I know you guys have been wondering where was I. I've been gone for about 6 months, but I've been so busy in work, I just couldn't do it. Hadn't got time, but I have a bit more time now. So we're gonna get making some stuff. I still have a whole pile of stuff to sort out in this workshop. It's an absolute mess. I need to build a few things, more drawers to sort out. So there'll be more workshop related content coming up and more projects coming up now on the channel that I have a bit more time as well. So thanks very much, guys. As always, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. If you're new here, think about subscribing. I shall see you in the next one. Take it easy.